This video is brought to you by Hostinger. Hostinger is a web hosting provider company, and they are probably the best web hosting providers at the market today. They have a variety of services including cloud hosting, web hosting, and VPS hosting. Just have a look at how affordable their prices are for the services that they offer. Simply amazing. You can have your website up and running in just a matter of minutes by a couple clicks here on Hostinger. If you want to use a non-SQL database and you want to host it on a server, you can't get anything better than Hostinger, and this is what I personally use. And if you think these prices are affordable, it gets even better. Go to Hostinger/Santos and use the coupon code Santos to get up to 91% off on the original price. Thank you, Hostinger, for sponsoring today's video. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the channel again. Anyways, this is the mastering payment with Flutter video, and now you must be wondering, why is this video so long? The problem is, if you're looking for basic videos that are going to teach you how to use the Stripe API, probably you'll find a bunch of those on YouTube. But my goal here is actually to explain you the how can you go about implementing that on a real project, and how are you going to structure that. We are going to touch too many topics here. First of all, we will I already have a basic app set up. This is connected to Firebase, and we already have authentication, everything running using provider package. I will give you this basic project, so you'll just download this and you'll start working from the same stage I am working at. So we are going to have to build cloud functions. We are going to have to set some functions that are going to run on the server if we want to properly manage our payment integration inside of our app. Let me just show you guys a bit what we already have here. You can of course come and register, but since I already have an account, I will just log into that account. Okay. Now, this is the email and the password. Let's log in. Good. The login was successful, and this is the basic structure. After the login is done, this is what you're going to see. And have a look at this. Here we have manage card and purchase history, and then log out. That's exactly what I'm trying to get into here. Show you guys, how can a user manage his cards, how can you have the purchase history, all of that inside of your app, and having that data connected to Stripe and then to Firebase. But obviously we are not going to do all of this on this particular video, because the video would be like 7 hours long. But for now, what you can do is you can come here, click on buy products, and there's a bunch of products I created, just dummy products with a name and a price, and we are going to use this. The user is going to buy these products, and we are going to use these sample products. And we have here subscriptions. And this is something very interesting, because I would like to show you guys how to handle subscriptions inside of your Flutter apps, not just buying. If you want to have an application that will take recurring payments from the user, this would be something extremely useful. But again, I'm not going to touch this on this particular video or on this playlist, because I have a basic course on my website about payments, and this is where I'm going to touch subscription and managing cards. Here I'll just give you the basic structure, and you guys can improve upon that. And obviously the user can just click add card, add his card information here and save, and that is going to be stored. And we do have our we are starting to set up our server functions here, or our cloud functions, and these functions are going to handle all of the logic on the server side of the app. So if you're excited, I am excited. Let's go. I think this was the longest intro I've ever done, but anyways, this is big, and a lot of knowledge is going to be thrown at you guys, so I hope you guys are ready. Let's go straight to the video. I can minimize this. We'll just take it to the background. So the very first step, obviously, will be to add the Stripe dependency here. So I'll just copy that for my other screen, and we'll come over here and paste it. Okay. You have to make sure that the indentation is correct. So now it's fine. And run packages get. Okay. With that out of the way, now we are going to basically go to our provider, and I am thinking, I got quiet because I was thinking if a better strategy would be to implement this using providers or using a class. Let's create a service instead of a provider, and let's call it we'll create this new Dart file, and we'll call it payments. Okay. Now we'll create this class and call it payment service. Let me zoom this a bit. Let's create a constructor. But before that, let's just import this Stripe API here. Oops. We want to import this. Okay, that is out of the way. Let me give some space here. Let's create a constructor that we are going to call it payment service, obviously. And what this constructor will do is basically have our Stripe payment set options. We are basically setting our Stripe payment options, or defining our Stripe payment settings. You will understand this in a bit. And inside of here, we will write Stripe options, because that's what I need. And this requires some fields. Publishable key, and this key we're supposed to get it from Stripe. So that's the part of the video where I have to show you guys how to get this key from Stripe. You'll go to your browser. Let me just open up my browser here and just type Stripe. So use that there. This is not Stripe. Okay, my connection is a bit slow as usual, but let's just be patient. So that we won't wait that much while we have that processing. We will get this from Stripe in a bit. While the page is loading, we can continue working with our class here. So basically, what we're doing here, I created a different file that's going to handle all of the payment stuff, and we call that payments.dart. And here inside of our class payments.dart, we defined a constructor. Constructor basically a method that's going to be automatically called when the class when object of this class is created. And inside here we are setting up our Stripe option, basically just configuring Stripe and connecting our app to our Stripe account. So guys, considering you already created your Stripe account, you will be redirected to a screen more or less like this. Depends on the time you're watching this video, but it doesn't matter much, because here what you want to do is basically coming to developers, API keys, and for now you are going to copy this publishable key, pk underscore test and all. Make sure this toggle here for test mode is activated. Right. And coming back to our app, if you go to services, then payments, this is what we have. I just took that key and you paste it here. So that's basically that. But as a matter of fact, I think that using a provider to take care of this would be better. So let us just create a new file. Call it payment provider. Increase the font a bit. Okay. And in here we're going to create our class. Payment provider with change notifier. So we are going to create a constructor here. It doesn't have to be a named constructor, it can just be a normal constructor. And inside of this constructor, we are going to take this code from payments here and paste it in here. Obviously we'll need to import Stripe here. Good. Now to avoid confusion, let's just delete this file. Good, we have that out of the way. Now let's create some other files. We are going to create a global key which is going to have our scaffold state, and we'll call it scaffold key, and make that equal to global key. Now, when are we going to use this global key with the scaffold state? When we want to display a couple of details on our scaffold, we are going to use this key. We are going to reference this key, but you are going to see when are we going to use this variable. Now, let's create a method called add card. Good. And create a variable here called payment method. Create here our payment method variable. We'll make it private for now. And make that equal to payment method. Now here, how are we going to do this? Let's add Stripe payment. Dot, and the method we are going to use here is payment request with card form. And basically what this does is it's going to generate a small card form where the user will have to insert the card number, the CVC, and the expiring date. Now here we'll put our card form payment request is the parameter that's going to go here. So we have Stripe payment request with card, and we're passing here our card form payment request. This is going to generate our card on the screen, our card form, and after this is done, it's going to return an object of the type payment method. As a matter of fact, this will be like this, because that's a function. Let me zoom in a bit. Now in here we are going to get our payment method, because once this card is submitted, this is the object we are going to get, an object of the type payment method. And then in here what we can do is basically setting our private payment method to be equal to this payment method. Good. So this is basically what's going to happen. In here. So basically what we're doing, again, I may be repeating myself too much, I don't know, but what we're doing here is creating a method that will allow the users to add cards, and in that method we are providing this code, Stripe payment request with card form, because we want to get that form where the user will insert the payment, the card details, right? And after that we are going to get this object of the type payment method, and we will assign that to our private variable payment method. And one last thing we can still do here is in case of errors, we will print. We don't want to show this to the user, so we can just print there was an error, and then the error and then the error to string. So that's basically that. Now why did I create this scaffold variable? Because at the beginning, or even now, if you want to display something to the user, we can use this to show on the app a message like something went wrong or something of the kind, right? Okay, so this particular part is done. We can test this and then go ahead to start implementing the back end or the server side of the payments. So guys, I even had to stop the video because I wouldn't get the add card button to work properly, but that was a small problem with the Stripe library I discovered a couple minutes after I found the error. Now the logic that we want to have basically is this one, that you come here, you click, and you get this. If you face that problem, if it doesn't work for you, you just have to come here to Android. Let me open Android, and then you have to open app, and then you have to come to the build Gradle, and what you have to change here is this minimum SDK version. By default it's set to 16. You just have to change it to 9.10, and that's all. You'll have your Stripe working fine. Let me go back to our home and just I can close this. Now what you have to do here is basically, let me comment this. and uncomment this. And just try to see if it's going to work all fine. Come to our app, click, and it's working perfectly fine. Now this is the first stage that is done because we were able to get this, and here now the user can insert the card number, the expiring date, and the CVC. Now we have to start working on our back end logic because the payment is not going to be entirely processed here on the client side or on the app. Some of the logic will be processed on the server, Firebase for our particular case, but it could be any other server, but here we are going to use Firebase. And to make that possible, we are going to build our cloud functions. If you don't know what cloud functions are, basically callable functions that are stored in the server. Think of cloud functions as APIs because they're basically APIs actually. Now I'm presuming you don't have your environment set to run cloud functions, and I'll kind of walk you through what you have to do to have everything set. The very first thing you'll have to do actually is to install Nodejs. Let me open up my browser here, and you come over here and I'm sorry for the background noise. I have these noisy neighbors. I hope you guys don't mind that much. But anyways, you have to go ahead, download and install Nodejs. But this is taking long, so I'll just pause the video and come back when the installation process is done. You don't have to do nothing special. Basically just go download the Windows or Mac version, depending on the operating system you are using, and after that is done, you have to install it. That's all. So guys, I just downloaded Node.js. Now what I have to do is go ahead and install that. So I will go to my downloads, or I can just see the browser. 1 second, I just have to find the file I just downloaded. Okay, here you have it. Double click on it. Next, agree, next, install. Now I am having Node.js being installed on my system, and this is the first step. While this is happening, there's something else that's very important that you must do as well. Let me bring the browser here. This is my Firebase project. This is the Firebase project that I connected the app to, and I didn't show you guys how to do that because I presumed that you already know how to connect your apps to your Firebase project. If you don't want to connect to this particular project, you can generate your own project and connect your app to that project. 1 second, let's see what. Okay, and connect your app to that particular project. But one thing you have to do is coming here to functions in your project, get started, and you will use this code to install Firebase tools when we want to start to install Firebase on our command line. So I can copy this code here, continue, and continue. Now we don't have any function, but basically our project is ready to start having cloud functions. And we have Node successfully installed. You're going to type cmd to open the command line and test that. If you are on Mac, on Linux, you're going to open the terminal. And what are we going to do here? Basically, is just running and this is the Node version that we have installed on our system, and run npm node package manager version as well to see what's the version of npm. And this is the version of npm. If you are able to get these outputs, it means that you have Node and npm successfully installed on your system. That's good. Now here from our user, let's make a new directory using the command mkdir make directory, payment functions. We created a directory called payment functions, and now cd change directory, now we are changing to this directory called payment function, the folder we just created. Now let's paste the code we just copied from Firebase. Npm install Firebase tools, and basically what we're doing here, we are installing Firebase tools into our system so that we can start running some Firebase commands from the command line. Just hit enter and wait for the installation. Well guys, now we have our Firebase tools installed on our system. Now we are going to run this command firebase init. Okay, I'm installing this for the first time, and I still have to log into my Firebase account. So this is actually the first command they're supposed to write, Firebase Login. I don't know if you guys are able to see that, but the command is Firebase space login. Okay, now once that is done, you'll have to select the account you're going to use to log in with, and I'm using my main account. Okay, that's fine. And that was it. It's done. Once that is complete, now you can run Firebase init to start your project. So a project will be created on our present directory. You just hit yes, I am ready to proceed. Now you have to select which one of the Firebase services do you want to use on this particular project. And for us is functions. Oops. I had to select using space and then enter. So again, Firebase init. Yes, I am ready to proceed. Now you use space to select and then enter. We will want to use an existing project. And now here you have to select the project you are going to use. And if this is your first, I mean, let's suppose you only have one Firebase project, you are only going to have that project. But if you have multiple projects, you'll have to select the specific project. And for my particular case is going to be payments. And again, the basic app that I gave you guys is already connected to this project, but what you can do is go ahead, just delete the Google service.json file and connect to your own Firebase project, because I suppose you already know how to do that, and just follow the same steps I'm doing here. Now here you have to select the language you are going to use for your project, and we are going to use TypeScript, which is a variation of JavaScript, but mostly use TypeScript to write Cloud Functions. So you select TypeScript. Yes. Yes. And now it's going to install some extra dependencies. So this was successfully done. It's complete. Let us open VS Code now. Okay. I'm sorry for that. Now let's open our folder, the folder we just generated, the folder containing our Cloud Functions. So for me, it's located on users, projects. Wait. I'm sorry, guys. It's not on projects. Where is the folder I just created? Here you have it, payment functions. And once everything is done, this is what you're going to get. You won't have to change almost nothing of this, because our main focus will be working here with our index.ts. TS is for TypeScript. sorry. And this is all we have for now. Now this looks like too much, but basically this is the process you have to go through. Now we have the structure of our cloud function set and ready to run, and we have our basic structure on our app. Now what we want to do is most part of the logic for the payments is going to be done here on our server side, or it's going to be running on our cloud functions, but some part of it will run on our client app. So what we are going to do is we are going to take some information from our client app, paste that information to our servers, to our cloud functions. We are going to process that and give something back to our client app. Basically this is how this is going to work, right? So I will stop this video here now, and from the next video we will start actually building our cloud functions and implementing our payments logic on our cloud functions, right? I am hoping this wasn't too much for you guys, and I'm hoping you kind of have a basic idea of how JavaScript works, because that would make your life easy. But if you don't worry, you don't need to panic, because I will try to explain it as much as I can, so that you guys will actually understand what you guys are doing, right? So see you guys on the next video.